How's it going, everyone? So, with the deadest part of the offseason finally behind us and training camp just on the horizon, starting Wednesday for the Packers, and actually on Friday, so yesterday, Packers quarterbacks, rookies, and players that were on the injured list did have to report. So, this is kind of the first day of training camp for the Packers in some capacity, but the first practice will be this coming Wednesday. There is some things to know about going into the first actual practice in the training camp that we know so far. So first one, starting off with one of our rookies in Anthony Belton. He was the only rookie unsigned for the Packers, and a lot of second round rookies were kind of unsigned up until kind of recently due to contract disputes. The Packers and Anthony Belton did officially come to an agreement, so Belton is signed, and we have all of our rookies signed onto the squad. So all the rookies will be reporting and practicing if they're not injured this coming Wednesday. Reason I say if they're injured or not injured is because the Packers did place 8 players on the injury list, unfortunately. So kind of a rough start, and it's kind of a doozy of a list. So the first one is the PUP list. These are players that were injured while pretty much playing for the Packers, not outside. So 5 players were put on the PUP list. First one, wide receiver Christian Watson, not a shock. He did tear his ACL last season. He's going to start off the offseason or training camp on the PUP list. Linebacker Quay Walker, he's been dealing with an injury during offseason, during mandatory minicamp. It's kind of been off and on with the injury. So not a great start to his training camp season to this year, so that kind of sucks. Then we have 3 rookies also starting off the season, so they're definitely going to be behind the 8 ball. That is in linebacker Colin Oliver, cornerback Micah Robinson, which kind of sucks because I was very curious to see how his potential training camp could go. And then offensive lineman John Williams. So these 5 players, they're going to be starting off on the PUP list. Then we have 3 players on the non-football injury list. Pretty much they sustained an injury in non-football or outside of a football game or during practice, and so they end up on the NFI list. And that is offensive lineman Elton Jenkins. It's been reported, or so they say, that he has been dealing with an injury for this offseason. Reported the mandatory minicamp, but he didn't practice. He's been dealing with an undisclosed injury. I'm taking it with a grain of salt, considering he's been in a contract dispute with the Packers because he's moving from guard to center and kind of wants to be guaranteed some more money that he'd be paid as a guard, considering he's been playing guard. And him moving to center, he would lose some money pretty much because the pay rate for center is not as high as a guard. So I'm pretty sure this is more of a contract dispute, really. And the Packers are playing nice and saying it's an injury, but it probably isn't an injury. Hopefully the Packers and Elton Jenkins come to a contract agreement so he can get on the field, because with Josh Myers gone, we're going to need Jordan Love and hopefully Elton Jenkins at center get some reps, because, well, we saw what happened at the end of the Eagles game. Well, at least I saw it while at the game. Snapping the ball, when I saw Sean Ryan practice snapping the ball after Josh Myers went down, it kind of looked ugly. So the more reps they have, so there's not any fumbling at the center position, would be greatly appreciated. Then the other 2 players, we have rookie running back Amar Johnson, and then kicker Alex Hale, who's an international player, was signed last year. So they're starting off the season on the NFI list. Now, something to note with the 8 players, they can be activated at any portion before the regular season onto the active roster and off the injury list and start practicing immediately. So just because they start the season or the training camp on this injury list doesn't mean they're out for an extended period of time. It's just where they're currently starting, but they can be activated instantly. So, for example, if Elton Jenkins and the Packers come to a contract agreement and they sign on the dotted line, I can expect Elton Jenkins to be instantly activated and off the NFI list. And then lastly, with the 8 players on the injury list, the Packers did go ahead and release 2 defensive linemen in Cameron Young and Nesta Jade Silva. And this is probably because that we are pretty deep at that position. With the injuries, they're probably, depending on how it's going, we could see them make a couple of transaction moves to bring in more camp bodies at those injured positions, so we're not tiring out starters or rookies, and pretty much kind of evening the workload so they're not injured earlier just because of, well, previous injuries. And so the football season is slowly coming around the corner. Very happy that it's finally come back. A lot of expectations for the Packers. I'm sure before training camp, sometime in the very near future, the Packers will release an unofficial depth chart. Now, this isn't to take it like, oh, this player is definitely above this player, but it's interesting to see where the Packers kind of place players. So, like, yes, you could think Matthew Golden could be the number 1 receiver or number 2, at least a top 2 receiver. If he's number 4 in the depth chart, take it with a grain of salt. He's got to earn his reps and all that. So it's not set in stone. It's just a preliminary depth chart to see kind of where players are currently at. But football season is almost here. Starting up the videos again, you'll probably see the location slightly change because I've been kind of making another room and I'll be moving over to that room. So if you see an exterior or how it randomly looks one video, I've moved rooms. I've been kind of doing that throughout the summer. And hopefully it's almost complete. But otherwise, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, go Pack Go.